supporting your Perry Innovation Center student at home. So things have changed a lot in education, and today's educators are forced to really think about and define the idea of learning. And so we understand that in today's knowledge economy, the quality, quantity, accessibility of information has become way more important than the traditional understanding of academic content. So we have therefore had to do a lot of work to create an actionable definition of learning that our entire community can embrace. So for that reason, I've created this short little screencast to share with you information about how our students learn, as well as information about, as well as tips to help you support them at home. Through intense research and practice, we understand that students learn best when they are faced with cognitively demanding tasks. In other words, things that really engage their brains, and they get meaningful feedback, and they are immersed in the real world experiences and opportunities that life can provide. And so, what I would like you to think about is instead of viewing the learning that happens at school as different from the learning that happens at home, we should collaborate and consider them interdependent elements of the student's learning experience as a whole. In Perry Innovation Center, most students will experience a project-based learning environment. And the project-based learning approach basically challenges students with a real-world problem and tasks them with creating a solution to that problem using their previous knowledge, then enhancing that knowledge with lots of research, interviews, and even field experiences. So these qualities that the students learn in this environment are we're hoping that they're qualities that you might even want to find in an employee you might want to hire. And we'd like to partner with you in curating your children's most productive qualities, which we hope that they will support them through their academic career and beyond. Take a look at this chart. So we've got in the left-hand side, we have the concept of internal locus of control. And on the right-hand side, we have the concept of external locus of control. And locus of control was a Julian Rotter experiment or paper that he published back in the 1950s. And basically, locus of control is the idea or is a person's belief about how much they can control about life and how much life controls them, and that's a big paraphrase. And so, at Perry, we want to encourage students to begin to understand the control that they have over their own lives, instead of having a series of excuses, whether they're student provided or parent supported, and really raise them to play the blame game, like the person here on the right, which has the external locus of control where things just simply happen to them. We want to really encourage the students and promote the qualities of determination, self-directedness, and responsibility. And we want the students to feel like even though they don't have very much control of the world, they ultimately have control of how they will respond and behave. So the person to the left with the internal locus of control is a person who feels like, you know what, I can work through that. I can make it happen. And this is the goal that we're aiming for. So I'd like to share with you now some strategies that they can practice at home to help us raise the student with more internal locus of control. So to help your student really command those cognitively demanding tasks, I suggest that you allow your student to begin to solve their problems or issues on their own. In the last 20 years, well, we've kind of helicoptered around our kids and kind of done a lot of things for them And that does not necessarily have the best outcome. So I would really encourage you to step back, and rather than running to help, allow them to resolve their own issues and give them an opportunity to think through things on their own. Another thing that you can do is answer their questions with questions. So, instead of just, providing the answer directly. And although this is like super difficult and really it is time consuming, it does help your student begin to seek for and ask better questions. Really try to guide rather than fix, because in guiding them rather than fixing things for them, your student will develop the ability to seek guidance rather than always seek or look for someone to fix things for them or to do things for them. Now, if you run into a question that you cannot answer, please encourage your student to seek the guidance of a classmate, to call a classmate and seek some help, because their classmates are really like their first network, and we really want them to use this strategy often. Also, continue to teach your students responsibilities by giving them opportunities to contribute to the family in things other than small household chores. So, extend those household chores a little bit. I know my favorite way of challenging my kids when they were little was to, when I was going to the grocery store, I maybe would bring a couple of their friends as well. And then I would give them a cart while there and give them half of the grocery shopping list and send them on their way. This gave them an opportunity to just kind of role play being a grown up. It was a lot of fun for them. It gave me a chance to teach them about behavior and also again how to just kind of handle groceries. I would also like to talk a little bit about providing meaningful feedback. Again, as well as the helicoptering, one of the things that we've developed in the last 20 years is this habit of overpraising the kids, even when the work is not really that good. And so I would like to encourage you to give honest yet compassionate feedback for your students' work and performance. This constant praise for mediocre work and effort does not give the right message for your student, and he does not really communicate the reality of their abilities. And this eventually leads to disappointments, and especially when they get to high school, because they realize that they are not as good as they were led to believe they were. Instead, when you give them honest feedback, they develop the ability to go back to the drawing board and try again. So, a strategy that I use is to first talk about what went well, what's good, and then maybe talk about what could use some work. And lastly, give them some hints as to what the student can do next and guide them in that process. So, what's good, what's bad, what's next. And to change it up a little, you might want to, if a student is really interested in a specific topic and they show interest in that topic, introduce them to people in your network that might be able to provide them more real world feedback. Example, if one of your students is really interested in, say, baking, and they want to do their chemistry experiments for baking, and they want to talk about the history of baking or whatever, consider calling somebody in your network, say the baker next door, say your friend is really, really into baking, and have them bring their samples to that expert. Get some real world experience other than the feedback of a really kind and not always objective parent. Last but not least, I cannot highlight enough the importance of providing opportunities for real world experience and application. And I'm talking about beyond taking your students to the pumpkin patch and having an experience things like that. I'm talking about giving an experience to taste new foods, meet new groups of people, go to new places, exchange new ideas with people that do not think like them, new experiences, because we have found that this is not only a great opportunity to learn, but it also provides that great field experience that enriches their writing topics, their reading choices, and self expression, because these experiences give them so much more to talk about and give them so many more adjectives in which to explain in their writing. And also, if they are working on something that is academic, please, if you can, give them the opportunity to apply what they're studying in school. We have lots more strategies to help you support your child at home. So, for more information, I'd like to encourage you to come to the September 17th Perry Innovation Meeting, or visit our website, perry.grandblankschools.org. Give us a phone call. Find us on Facebook. There's lots of pictures and videos of some of the experiences from the kids from last year, and or follow us on Twitter. Thank you, and I hope to see you on September 17th.